For the past month and a half, I have been retesting conversion ads to grow my audience on Spotify. Now, before this, I had been using traffic ads for quite some time because my original conversion ads started to perform very poorly. So after I ran traffic ads with success, I thought I'd start retesting conversion ads to see how they fared. So let me show you how I set things up and how it's been going. So first of all, let's start with a broad overview of my traffic campaign that I've been running for the majority of 2022. So here's a snapshot of the month of May for my Spotify traffic campaign that I've been running. I've gotten 791 link clicks at an average cost per click of 37 cents. Another thing I want to point out is my click-through rate is 1.59%. If we come in here, you can see I've got a bunch of ad sets that I've tested, but in the month of May, I was running these two ad sets, Tier 1A and Download Tier 1A. So we'll isolate those. So for these two ad sets, I was running Tier 1A to get cold traffic to go to Spotify and then retargeting with the download. So we'll ignore the download for now and just look at Tier 1A. Inside here, I was targeting just the United States, Canada, the UK, and Australia. So the top 4 English-speaking countries globally. And then I was using my regular stories ad for my song Hero, which sent traffic to a toned-in link redirect, which then flipped and sent people directly to my Spotify artist profile. So the two big metrics that I want to compare are 37 cents per click and 1.59% click-through rate. So this is my traffic ad that I was running before I started testing conversions again. And this is my conversion campaign that I've been running since just about the beginning of June. Now you can see we have a lot more website views content than we had link clicks in the traffic campaign, and we have just about double the link clicks altogether. We've got 1,500 link clicks compared to the 791, I believe it was, with the traffic campaign. Now our click-through rate is a little bit lower at 1% instead of 1.59%, but our cost per view content is a lot lower than our cost per click at 29 cents compared to 37. And our cost per click is 20 cents compared to 37 cents. The costs here are lower, the click-through rate's a little bit lower, and we have a lot more results. Now this is with good reason, and it's because I've been targeting a lot more countries globally than just the top 4 that I was targeting with my traffic ads. So if we go into the ad set level here, you can see I've tested a whole bunch of stuff in here. I started out with these tiered ad sets, much like you would do in a traffic campaign. I wanted to test kind of a 1-for-1 setup with tier 1, 2, and 3 based on this spreadsheet of my countries that are broken down by tier here in tiers 1, 2, and 3. And the budget was pretty much in line with what you would expect. Most of it went to tier 3. The second place was tier 2. And then after that, just a little bit to tier 1. And you can see that the results for tiers 2 and 3 were pretty much the same, exactly the same in terms of cost, 22 cents and 47 cents for tier 1. So the cost per result for tier 1 was higher for conversions than it was for traffic. However, that's apples to oranges because we're comparing views content to link clicks. If we compare link clicks, then we actually have a lower cost per result with conversions at 31 cents per click versus 37 cents per click. Once again, this is targeting more countries than just those 4. So maybe I need to do a future ad set where I just target those 4 and see if we can do a 1-for-1 comparison. But right now, this is the best we have. The click-through rate actually is a lot higher here on the conversion campaign as well at 2.01% instead of 1.59%. After that, I tested this cities ad set, and then I have recently been running this all ad set where I took all 3 tiers and combined them into one ad set instead of the tiered ad set setup. And then again, I was testing this download link just like I had with my traffic campaign to retarget people who'd watch my ad video, try to get them to download the track so I can get their email address. So now that we've looked at an overview of kind of where my traffic campaign left off and then what I've tested here in a broad ad set sense inside this conversion campaign, let's look at how I set things up inside of these ads and ad sets on a more granular level. So we'll start with tier 1 here in the tiered ad sets. Now, all these tiered ad sets are identical except for what they're targeting. So I've got conversions on my website. I'm using my pixel, view content, event. You can see the start and end dates here. So I did set a budget limitation for this tier to make sure it got $1 a day. This is the only budget limitation I set. Instead of setting a cap for tiers 2 and 3, I set a minimum spend for tier 1 to make sure that it got anything at all. So that's probably the reason it got any results, to be quite honest. So after that, we targeted all of the tier 1 countries that are in this spreadsheet here. Then I'm targeting my age breakdown from Spotify, 18 to 34. And I went with cold targeting for all of this. I'm still using cold targeting for all of this. I'm targeting Spotify here as the primary interest, and then narrowing for electronic dance music, Linkin Park, and rock music, because that sort of fits what I do pretty well. From there, manual placements, I'm just doing Instagram stories, and then we'll go to the ad level. So the ad is exactly the same as what I was using for my traffic ads. The only difference is I was using a link redirect for the traffic ads to send traffic directly to my Spotify profile. In this one, I am using a landing page. Now, if we back out to go to the ad set level, all three of these tiers are exactly the same except for that one budget limitation. So let's come up to cities. This is the one I tested next. In this one, I took all of the cities, the major cities where I was getting listened to, inside of the top 3 English-speaking countries globally, and I tested that to see what would happen. I'm targeting Atlanta, Chicago, Dallas, Houston, LA, New York, then Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney, and then London. And I set a $1 per day minimum to make sure this got budget as well. And then everything else is exactly the same. My targeting, my breakdown for age, my placements, and then everything at the ad level is exactly the same as well. So you can see that the results for this were pretty much in line with what was happening with tier 1, but the click-through rate is a little bit higher and the cost per click is a little bit higher. So pretty much the same kind of results with those cities as I got with sort of the broad tier 1 targeting, which I thought was kind of interesting. And then lastly, I have been recently running this top ad set, Hero All, and that is all of these countries from every tier inside of this spreadsheet here, all in one ad set. So if we go here, you can see that the setup is exactly the same in terms of everything outside of targeting compared to the other ones that we've looked at. So I haven't been running this very long. As you can see, I started on June 22nd. I'm using every country inside of those tiers, 18 to 34, Spotify, narrowed for the same things. I'm using Instagram stories, and then I'm using, again, the exact same ad, going to a toned-in landing page where you have to click the button to end up on Spotify. So this has been my setup for the past 30 days or so that I've been testing to try to get conversion ads to work for me once again. And fortunately, the results have been pretty good. The costs continue to come down. There have been fluctuations from time to time, as is pretty normal. Some days the cost will double and then it'll go right back to being kind of where it was before that the next day, which is kind of weird. That didn't happen to as much of a degree with traffic ads as it has been happening inside of conversion ads. But outside of that, everything has been working quite well and continues to improve in the macro over time. So I'm going to keep testing stuff. I'll probably will test an ad set that's targeting just the top 4 English-speaking countries just to see what happens. And I'm thinking about testing some other ad sets that narrow in on different sets of countries, and maybe even trying some ads for different songs just to see what happens, because I want to test it and see how it goes. Now, if you have questions about this, you want to learn more about this campaign, how I set it up, how I set up my traffic campaign, or just want to learn more in general about how to use Facebook ads to grow your presence on Spotify, you can get help from me in the form of courses, consultations, or even agency services at TomDupreeThe3rd.com, and you can find a link to that in the description of this video. Now, before I let you go, if you don't subscribe to this channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you don't miss any future videos. At the end here, I've got a couple more videos you can check out, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.